can't borrow my car.
I want to borrow your car.
Lisa Bonet wasn't just the wild child on the Cosby Show. She was the red flag waving in plain sight.
He's a lieutenant in the Navy.
Oh boy, Navy man, can't go wrong with that.
You have to bring
Behind all those cozy sweaters and picture-perfect smiles, she felt the darkness creeping in long before the public ever heard a word about it.
And Mr. Cosby, you call him Mr. Cosby, don't you?
Call him Bill.
Do you really? Did he give you a nice gift?
No.
Not a gift at all?
He didn't give me anything.
Oh.
But that's okay.
Bonet sensed something was off. She picked up on Cosby's twisted vibe years before the truth exploded. And when she refused to play by his rules or stay quiet in his tightly controlled world, she got pushed out just like that. But how did America's so-called favorite TV dad pull off this double life for decades without being exposed? Let's break down the secret that's been hiding in front of our faces this whole time. Back in 1984, TV didn't know what to do with a confident, stylish black family that shattered the old molds. Most shows either erased black characters completely or shoved them into tired, flat stereotypes. So when Bill Cosby, already riding high from Stand Up and I Spy, pitched a show about a successful upper-middle-class black family, it shook up the system. Cosby had one mission: rebrand how America viewed black households. No more poverty, no more chaos, just a polished image of black excellence, buttoned up and picture perfect. And NBC, they were starving for a hit, so they gave him something almost no one got: full creative control. That meant Cosby didn't just star in the show, he ran the whole thing. Total power. Then The Cosby Show dropped, with Cosby playing Dr. Cliff Huxtable, a goofy, lovable OB-GYN, alongside Felicia Rashad, who brought elegance and edge as his no-nonsense wife. But while the world was laughing, something darker was bubbling underneath. Don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe to Fame Feast now for the real stories behind the spotlight. Claire Huxtable wasn't just a wife. She was elegance, brilliance, and power wrapped into one. Living with Cliff and their 5 kids in a Brooklyn brownstone, the Huxtables didn't just face problems. They solved them with love, laughs, and one of those classic little lectures at the end. But this wasn't just any sitcom. This was a cultural reset. Every kid had a vibe. Sandra was the overachiever. Theo kept getting into mess. Vanessa was always fighting to be heard, and Rudy, she stole hearts left and right. But then there was Denise, played by Lisa Bonet. Denise Huxtable broke the mold. She rocked wild curls, mixed her clothes like a fashion rebel, and carried a cool, unpredictable energy that nobody else on the show could touch. She didn't follow trends, she made them. Her style? Untouchable. Her presence? Magnetic. Denise wasn't just a TV character. She was the blueprint for a whole generation of girls trying to find their voice and stand out. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, everything looked smooth and shiny. The cast said Cosby ran a tight ship, strict but structured, like a college class in comedy. He didn't just act, he coached his cast like a mentor, shaping every moment. And it worked. Ratings went through the roof. NBC struck gold, and The Cosby Show became the gold standard for what happened when black stories were put front and center. Awards rained down: Emmys, Golden Globes, NAACP Image Awards. Critics loved it, parents trusted it, schools even used it to teach kids life lessons. For a while, it really felt like Cosby had created a brand new American dream. But the thing about dreams, they can hide the darkest shadows. Want more shocking behind-the-scenes truth? Hit that subscribe on Fame Feast now. What fans didn't see was the storm building backstage, especially between Bill Cosby and Lisa Bonet. The tension, it was real, and it was growing louder with every episode. Lisa was stepping into her own spotlight, gaining attention far beyond the show, and Cosby wasn't having it. She didn't fit into the polished image he was determined to sell to America. She was bold, untamed, and not afraid to speak her truth. She wasn't out here causing trouble. She just refused to shrink herself to fit his idea of the perfect daughter. And that made her a problem. But Cosby's grip wasn't just on the scripts or camera shots, it went deeper, way deeper. He wanted control over everything, even the cast's personal lives, especially the women, especially Lisa. And Bonet, she wasn't going for it. Her independence clashed hard with his tight control, and behind the scenes, the clash got intense. Nobody talked about it back then, not on set, not in interviews, it was all smiles for the cameras. But looking back now, the pattern hits different. What we thought was the dream family, it was hiding something twisted. Cosby crafted the image of the perfect father figure, but Lisa Bonet was signaling something wasn't right, and nobody listened. By 1987, The Cosby Show was still running the game. The Huxtables were icons. The ratings were fire. Cosby wasn't just a TV star, he was a national symbol. Clean comedy, family values, all of it. But under that flawless image, cracks were starting to show, and it all began with Lisa. She was just 19, still rocking oversized sweaters and bringing that wild magnetic energy to every scene, still showing up every Thursday night. But behind her eyes, there was something she knew. And now, so do we. Tap into the real story. Subscribe to Fame Feast so you don't miss what's coming next. To fans watching at home, Denise Huxtable was the lovable free spirit of the Huxtable crew. Quirky, stylish, a little rebellious, but always wrapped safely in Cosby's carefully crafted world. But Lisa Bonet, she was way ahead of that script. She wasn't pretending to grow up. She was grown and ready to show the world exactly who she was. That same year, Lisa made a bold move that flipped everything upside down. She signed on to star in Angel Heart, a dark, twisted, supernatural thriller opposite Mickey Rourke. This wasn't some family-friendly sitcom. This movie was gritty, intense, and full of shadows. Lisa played Epiphany Proudfoot, a mysterious character wrapped in voodoo, secrets, and violence. And then came that love scene. It was raw, haunting, and so controversial, censors had to cut it just to avoid an X rating. Audiences who still saw her as sweet little Denise were shocked. But Cosby, he was furious. Lisa didn't just step outside the box, she burned it to the ground. And she didn't stop there. Her Interview magazine photo shoot was the final spark, semi-nude, powerful, and unapologetically her. It was bold, it was loud, and it was everything Cosby didn't want. To him, this wasn't just a role gone too far, it was personal. He had built The Cosby Show as a shining example of black respectability, a squeaky clean image made to comfort both black and white America. And here was Lisa rewriting the rules without even asking for permission. Her choices weren't part of the plan. They didn't match the brand. And worst of all, she wasn't backing down. The tension between them exploded, fast and fiery. Don't miss what went down next. Hit that subscribe on Fame Feast to stay locked in. Whispers started creeping out from behind the scenes. Fights, tension, and long stretches of icy silence between Cosby and Lisa Bonet. Word was Cosby had started calling her difficult. Said she showed up late. Said she pushed back too much. But come on, Lisa had a mind of her own, and that was the real problem. Cosby didn't want a co-star evolving into her own powerhouse. He didn't want her speaking up, growing out, or owning her identity in public. He wanted obedience. Lisa was done with that. Sure, they kept it civil for the cameras. Cosby blamed it on growing pains, and Lisa talked about needing more creative freedom. But the truth? There was a battle brewing underneath the surface, and it was only getting hotter. Lisa had outgrown both the role and the control. Then came the twist. Cosby handed her a spin-off, A Different World. It followed Denise into college. On the outside, it looked like a win, a fresh chapter, Lisa leading her own show. But behind the scenes, it was something else entirely. Cosby didn't let go. He tightened the leash. He picked the showrunners. He chose the writers. He selected the cast. Lisa's face was on the posters, but Cosby was still running the machine. It wasn't freedom. It was just another setup, a different room in the same house. Season 1 launched strong. Ratings boosted by its golden time slot, wedged between The Cosby Show and Cheers on NBC's stacked Thursday lineup. But no matter how good it looked on paper, Lisa knew she wasn't calling the shots, not yet. Fans were hyped to see Denise Huxtable step into a new chapter, but off camera, Lisa Bonet was hitting a wall. She had vision, real vision. She wanted to take a different world somewhere deeper, more raw. Real conversations about identity, class, and the actual struggles students face in college. She came with ideas. She pushed back on weak scripts. She fought to make the show reflect real life. But every time she spoke up, she hit a ceiling. The show had to stay light, easy, and family-friendly, exactly the way Cosby wanted it. No risks, no edge. Just polished smiles and surface-level laughs. Lisa kept pushing for creative freedom, but the more she pushed, the more things got tense. It became obvious even this spin-off couldn't fix the real issue between her and Cosby. What started out as a mentor and protege bond had morphed into a silent standoff, and everybody on set could feel it. The vibe had shifted. People weren't asking if something was about to break. They were just waiting to see when. The perfect TV family that millions welcomed into their homes every Thursday night. It was starting to fall apart, not in the scripts, but in real life. Lisa Bonet was just the beginning. By the end of A Different World's first season, the tension backstage was impossible to ignore. Lisa had already made waves with her bold career moves, her refusal to be boxed in, and her rising star status outside the Cosby universe. And that pressure, it was about to explode. Then in 1988, boom, Lisa Bonet dropped a personal bombshell that sent shockwaves through the industry. She was pregnant with her first child, just 20 years old, newly married to rock star Lenny Kravitz, and stepping into motherhood. This was a major life moment for Lisa. But while it was a celebration in her real world, behind the scenes, panic mode. A Different World had just started finding its rhythm. The show was built around a carefree college vibe. Denise learning how to navigate life outside her wealthy Brooklyn bubble. It was young, fresh, and upbeat. A surprise pregnancy? That did not match the glossy image the network had planned. And for Cosby, it was a nightmare. A storyline about a college student juggling school and motherhood could have opened the door to something real, something powerful. But Cosby wasn't interested in authenticity. He wanted the show to stay simple, sweet, and in his control. Behind closed doors, producers scrambled. Could they make it work? Maybe Denise could raise the baby on campus. Maybe they'd hide Lisa's growing belly behind props, baggy sweaters, or strategic camera angles. Maybe, just maybe, they could write around it. But Cosby wasn't trying to compromise. He made the call fast. Instead of adjusting the show to fit Lisa's real life, he chose to write her out. What happened next shocked fans in the industry. Don't miss the twist that followed. Subscribe to Fame Feast to keep uncovering the truth behind the smiles. Cosby didn't just sideline Lisa Bonet, he yanked her off A Different World completely. The official statement dressed it up. Creative reasons, they claimed, said Denise was needed back on The Cosby Show, but the real ones knew what time it was. This wasn't about storytelling, it was about control. Lisa had gotten too bold, too independent, and Cosby wanted her back under his watch. When she returned to The Cosby Show, something felt off. Denise, who had just started finding her own way at college, was suddenly back home. No real explanation. The writers tossed out a line about her taking a break from school, but never said why, never mentioned Hillman College again. All that growth gone, no follow-up, no closure, just silence. It was awkward. Her storylines barely made sense. She drifted through episodes like a guest in her own narrative. And after giving birth to her daughter Zoe in December 1988, Lisa's screen time got cut even more. Her character felt tacked on, like the writers didn't know what to do with her or didn't want to deal with her at all. As the seasons rolled on, Lisa Bonet faded further into the background. A cameo here, a line there, but no real impact. By 1991, it all came crashing down. Bonet officially exited the show. NBC's goodbye, short, cold, and calculated. A bland thank you for your contributions and not one word more. Then the show had a new problem. What the heck to do with Denise? The answer, a last-minute bombshell out of nowhere. Suddenly, Denise was married to a Navy guy named Martin Kendall. No build-up, no backstory, just bam. Married life, delivered like a plot twist nobody asked for. Martin Kendall, Denise's surprise husband, was barely a character. Viewers knew next to nothing about him, and Denise's relationship with him basically non-existent on screen. One minute she was the free-spirited college rebel, the next she was married with a stepdaughter. Fans were confused and not in a good way. Denise Huxtable had always been the wild card, the dreamer, the drifter, the one who challenged the idea of settling down. And now she was a military wife living on a Navy base overseas and suddenly playing stepmom to little Olivia. It did not track. The Denise fans had grown up with wouldn't have just morphed into that off-screen. The writers clearly felt the disconnect too, because instead of diving into this major life shift, they used it to quietly shut her storyline down. One simple line, Denise was leaving to join Martin in Japan. That was it. No goodbye, no closure, no send-off episode. She was just gone. And if that wasn't loud enough, her absence from the 1992 series finale said it all. Every major cast member showed up for that emotional final curtain call, except Lisa Bonet. No flashbacks. No nod to her character, no where's Denise moment. It was like she'd been erased, married off, sent overseas, forgotten. But for those paying attention, this wasn't just a clumsy writing decision or a creative direction gone wrong. Lisa Bonet's quiet disappearance looked more and more like a strategic exit, and the more distant she became from the show, the louder the whispers got. Whispers that maybe Lisa knew something, that her eerie distance wasn't just rebellion, but a warning. A quiet move away from something that didn't sit right. Then in 2015, the whispers that had lingered in the shadows for decades finally burst into the spotlight. Joseph C. Phillips, who played Martin Kendall, Denise's husband on The Cosby Show, broke his silence in a raw and revealing blog post titled, "Of course, Bill Cosby is guilty." The post was later deleted, but the damage was done. The truth was out. Phillips didn't sugarcoat it. He dropped a bomb. What people had been murmuring on set for years, he called it what it was, an open secret. According to Phillips, Cosby's infidelity wasn't hidden or even denied. It was everywhere. Ambient, he said, like the air. You didn't need to see it. You didn't need to hear it. You just knew it was real. At the time, Phillips admitted he brushed it off, thought it was just Cosby's personal business. He didn't grasp the weight of it until much later. That's when a moment hit him like a punch to the gut. A woman, a friend, someone who had worked closely with the show, came to him with a story that chilled him. She told him clearly and painfully that she had been drugged by Cosby, and she wasn't alone. Her story would later echo almost word for word in the accounts of over 60 women across decades. Phillips confessed he felt haunted by the guilt for not seeing it sooner, for failing to protect someone he cared about. The violation of her trust, her loyalty, her body, he wrote. The regret ran deep. But this wasn't just about a few people whispering behind closed doors. The truth was everywhere on set. From young actors to guest stars to production staff, everyone operated in a space where Cosby's power was untouchable. Whatever he said went. And questioning him, that wasn't even on the table. The truth was never buried. It was right there the whole time. Hit subscribe on Fame Feast and stay locked in as we keep pulling back the curtain on the legends and the lies.